Please welcome Shifra.
I was in the sandpit. It was the end of the school day, waiting for our parents to pick us up, and I was playing with a friend of mine. Let's call her X. Next thing I know, X's mum has her by the elbow, looks at me furious, and calls me a dirty effing abo. Now, no one ever should say something so inexcusable to someone else, let alone a child. But secondly, as much as I'd like to be, I am not and never have been Indigenous Australian. As a 6-year-old, however, my first reaction was, "Oh, you said the F word!" Growing up, I learnt that many people made false assumptions about me. They guessed what I might eat for dinner. They guessed what my English or maths skills should or shouldn't be. And they guessed where I should go on holiday. I also realised that people around me had been called the wrong racist term quite a bit. To try and do something about all this, I worked for several interfaith and multicultural organisations in Victoria and eventually started my own volunteer schools-based program called Ask Me Anything. The aim of Ask Me Anything is to combat toxic stereotypes, to encourage mutual understanding, and to build a diverse and cohesive Australian community through the asking and answering of all those sensitive, controversial, personal questions that you never usually get the chance to ask someone different, but you've always wanted to. The Ask Me Anything schools program is what we did yesterday with the Year 9s. We had a Jewish presenter, a Muslim presenter, a police officer, an Indigenous Australian, and an atheist come into the classroom and for 90 minutes invited Year 9 to ask us anything. Unscripted. It was fabulous. So you're probably wondering, why is my talk called Are Babies Racist? Well, when you invite people to ask you anything, students especially, they do. And Are Babies Racist was one of the most challenging, interesting, but mildly shocking questions I've been asked. Sociologists and researchers generally agree that racism at its core is hatred and bigotry and bias. And of course, babies aren't born with hatred or bias. They don't attribute a negative meaning to a particular look, a particular eye colour, skin colour, hair texture. But research also shows, and this might be quite interesting to some of you, that from a very young age, some say about 3 to 6 months, babies can absolutely tell the difference between skin colour. By the age of about 4, kids are asking questions like, why is my skin colour different to my friends? Why are mum's eyes hazel and why are mine dark brown? While shoe shopping the other day, I got asked by a little girl, why is your skin so brown? And she was holding up her hands in front of my face. Her mum was mortified and embarrassed profusely, but she didn't really answer the question, but maybe she talked about it at home later. The point of Ask Me Anything is to not avoid questions like that. I know race talk and hatred and prejudice can be really a touchy subject. It makes people uncomfortable because as soon as you start talking about skin colour and difference and the meanings behind that difference, you think you're just exacerbating the difference and you're making it worse. And of course, people are also scared that they will end up being called racist or xenophobic. But at Ask Me Anything, we don't want to avoid those questions. We know that children see the difference from a very young age, but we know that telling the difference isn't the same as assigning a negative meaning to that difference. I think to help solve any issue like prejudice, you need to be aware of it. And if you can't be aware of a problem, you can't be aware of a problem if you don't talk about it openly. The point of Ask Me Anything is to make the invisible problem of prejudice and hatred more visible, and to make people who might be largely unaware of it more aware. So I invite you to please ask me anything.